Okay, so for this interactive project, I decided to use AI mostly for the written portion of it. I used it for the template outline. Um, for essays, I tend to get kind of mixed up in how I should order things or like what order they should go in. And usually AI helps me come up with a good like flow chart of when I get that information, where it should go, and what information I should kind of be on the lookout for. So I'm not able to share my screen on my computer, but I do have. I'm not sure if we have to show like the chat or like it said that we had to show like the back and forth conversation, I guess. But I just had one conversation with it, and I just had put that I'm writing a small 500 to 800 assignment on the type of cognitive bias, and I just need help with this set. I need help with the setup of the flow of the information, and if it could help me come up with a template that covers all the bases I should hit. And I will research the articles myself, and I put the data and I write it myself. I just need a flow chart of like the of how the information should go, and essentially it gives me that flow chart. It says here's a clean flow chart, and it says cognitive bias mini paper flow template, and it says that I should start off with a hook and why it matters. And it helps. Another thing is why I like utilizing this is that it I because I gave it the word count, it says how many words each paragraph should be, and I'm kind of bad at that as well because I don't know how much information to put into one paragraph. Like, is it too much? Is it too little? And usually AI helps with us like a good sufficient amount that does the job. So it also says okay that first paragraph should be a hook, and it's like 2 to 4 sentences, just something to grab the attention, just a quick real life example, and then like a big point about your cognitive bias. And then the second one is to define the bias clearly, so kind of give the definition of whichever one I choose, what example. So it's define it in my own words, and it says to give like key features of like what triggers it, what does it make people do, what's the pattern of the mistake. The third one is how it works, like the mechanism of that bias, and it pretty much explains that this paragraph should entail on like the process and steps. So like, is it a situation slash decision point? Is it a mental short cut that kicks in? Is the bias like what's the bias interpretation or like a choice? And then the outcome of this bias, and then it goes on to later say that I should involve the research evidence, and this should be like 2 short paragraphs. It says that I should use two studies or whatever the paper recommends or the guidelines are for the paper. It says that I should talk about the purpose of them, the methods that they use, the findings, what they found, and the meaning of it. Um, and then number five, as in like another paragraph, should have like real world impact on how this affects us. So it says to pick like one domain, like school, work, the hospital, etc., etc., and to just go deeper. So is it affecting like school and learning, our health, our social media, the news, workplace, or like relationships? And just to kind of give that real world example. And it then says to wrap it up, like kind of give like a conclusion of it. It says like 2 to 4 sentences, and it says restate the bias and like why it matters, and link back to your like opening example, and just kind of give them like a takeaway of the whole bias that I chose. So I don't know if I could share it, but it was literally just, oh, it's just that same, what I just said, just kind of there. It was just that one conversation. It just kind of gave me that template or the flow of it. And like I said, I usually like doing this because I'm not a very good organizer when it comes to essays, and I feel like I might be saying too much or too little, and or maybe I'm not finding the right information. And I feel like utilizing AI kind of helps me stick to what is important and just kind of work around the fluff that I may find, and kind of just, okay, well, I need to look for this in this research paper, so let me go and let me see if it's even in there. So it also helps me realize if I even have good peer-reviewed articles. So if they don't meet the guidelines of what I need in my essay, okay, well, that's not gonna work, so I move on to the next one. And that's until I find a good peer-reviewed article that I can actually use or utilize for my essay. So that's mostly what I just use AI for. Um, the Yeah, because after the written portion, it was just the video, and the video was kind of me just reiterating the research that I found on mine. I chose confirmation bias. So it was just me reiterating that, so I didn't use AI for that. The visual presentation, I knew I wanted to do like a cartoon or a drawing, and I kind of came up with the example myself, so I just did that. And yeah, the only AI was just a template of it. Everything else was me writing it, and I also found the peer reviewed article, and